In this video, I'm going to revise the file read sample so that the user can enter the name of the file that they wish to open or have opened. So this is as the result of the previous video that we looked at where the name of the file was already in the program. But what we're going to do now is in this program, we'll have it to ask a user to enter a file name where data will be read from. And we're also going to have the computer to check to see if the file exists. See, what's going to happen is if you enter a file name and it doesn't exist, the program was going to crash. It's going to abruptly halt, and you don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is add a try except statement here. So here is how everything is going to change. We're going to say print, enter file name you wish or you would like to read from. And I'll just put this on a separate line. Use a new line here. So while true, while it is true, let's try entering a file. I'm just going to call this the in file or the input file. Say file in is equal to input. By default, this kind of input is a string input if you don't have anything, any kind of data type such as float or int. And we're going to say in file is equal to open file in. And so you don't have to add the .txt. We'll just attach it on here. We're going to open for read. Except file not found error. That's the exception that we're looking for. So we'll have to say print the file you entered, the file name rather, cannot be found. And I'll just add some more statements here. Retype the correct file name where data will, and I don't want it too long of a line because I don't want it wrapping around anything, so read from. Okay, and then we want to continue. Else, go back and say else break. Make sure that your indentions are correct. A try, except, and else are on the same column. That would be column 4. So we will print this information indicating that file can't be found, retype the correct file name where the data will be read from, continue, so that the program will allow the user to continue entering, else break. So what do we do, which is different from the previous program, is that we're allowing the user to be able to enter the name of the file that they want to read from. That makes the program a little bit more flexible. And this this statement here, we're going to say open, but our open is going to look a little bit different. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we don't need this open anymore because it's associated with our try except. Don't need that statement anymore. All we need to do is keep the read the file's content. So we use an arbitrary variable name. File contents is equal to the object in file.read. So we're reading from that file that was opened. And we're referencing our file object through a variable name, in, the in file. So, and of course, that's a capital. Give me an error message if I enter anything less. So, file name, that's we're using to open up the file. That's the physical name. It's associated with our conceptual object name. And that's what we're going to use to read the file's content. We'll close the file. And then we're going to print the data relating to that file. So we have to still keep the read the file's content statement, close the file. We print the data that was read into memory by saying print and then the file content. So you see the information from the file was read into this variable as a string of characters. So let's run the program and see what happens. If there are any errors, we'll be able to find what these errors are. Okay, we have one error here, which let's find out what is going on here. First of all, I didn't need to put this here, so that's what caused the error. All right, at line 12. Let's run the program again, see if there are any more errors. Okay, yep. And these are some typical errors that you will run into. We should have said quote .txt because we want the computer to, whatever file name we have, we want it to add or extend it with the .txt. Okay, and those are good errors to occur. These are more syntactical. Okay, enter the file name you would like to read from. Okay, so I'll put in name. It says the file name you entered cannot be found. It's not available. Philosopher still can't be found. It's supposed to be philosophers, and it should be spelled right. Okay, now it says in file is not defined. Did you mean in file? And those are things that I did put in. These are more syntactical. So whenever we use these names, I said in file is going to be my object. Wherever I'm using this, it should say in file and in file. This has a lowercase f. Case distinction is important because variable names are case sensitive. Okay, so these are good errors to have so that you can learn how to be able to find them and correct them. Okay, so I'm going to put in name of philosophers because I think that's the name. Nope, that's the wrong one. What about philosopher? That's wrong too. Phil, philosopher. And see, the variable name that I wanted to enter was called philosophers. And so it displayed all of these, the names of the philosophers. And I'll just pull it up so you can see the entire listing. So going back to the program, all we did was we revised the program so that it would ask the user to be able to enter a name rather than relying on the name being embedded into the program. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. It depends on what the objective is at this point. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to revise this program so that rather than the computer writing the results to the screen, we're going to send it to an output file. Okay, so what we're going to do now is tell the computer to make 2 blank lines. Ask the user to enter the name where the output will be stored. So we'll just say using the print statement, enter the name where you wish to write the results or the output. And we'll just make up another name, file out, input, out file is equal to file out plus, and this modality or mode is going to be for writing the output. And so, and then the next step would be to tell the user to, instead of us saying print, we're going to have to say outfile.write. So let's make that change. Okay, so I added the outfile.write. That's my object for my file that is going to be opened for output. And I'm just making some little spaces, making a little report saying the philosopher's list. And then the statement, just say the file contents. And next we will just have some separating lines here. I'm going to close that file. You notice as soon as I opened this file in red, I closed it so that we can just make more efficient use of our memory. And we're going to write the output to a file, and then we close it. And I just put some little comments on the screen just to let you know the contents from the input file, whatever the name is, has been written to the that output file that you're just putting in. Be sure to view it as in the same folder where your source code was stored. In other words, your Python source code. I can even put the word Python in here so you remember. All right, so let's run the program and see what happens now. Okay, so we ran the program. We entered the file name and where we were reading from, and that's where it was read from. And here's where it's being read to. And let's find it. So let's actually open up this philosophy list output text file. Here's the source code, and now here is the actual file that the source code created after reading from a file. Let's take a look at it. It's the philosopher's list. Here are the list of philosophers that was read in the computer, read from the file, and wrote to a brand new file. Let's take a quick review of this sample file, and it will be available to you for your perusal under the appropriate week relating to the file creations. This program not only reads data from a file, checks to see if that file is even available. If the file is not available and we don't use a try except condition, the program will crash. So we try to mitigate any crashing of any programs by making sure we try to mitigate any programs from crashing by putting error checking routines or try exception statements in our code. Stay tuned for the next video.